great, doing great. Let me get everything pulled up in my end here. Get your form. So what I'll do is I have this recorded. I'll have it sent to you tomorrow, so you can go back and watch it again at your leisure. And then obviously, if you have any questions anytime, you can just message me. Sound good?
Sounds amazing.
Awesome. All right. So what got you interested in coaching?
Well, I have a very busy schedule
Hmm.
and I've always played at a high level and
Hmm.
I run 3 businesses, so I don't have a lot of time to play
Woof.
and I'm
That's crazy.
I'm sick of like being stuck at like gold plat even though I
Yeah.
used to play at like diamond level and stuff.
Right.
So I want to make the change because basically the free time that I have at the end of the day, I want to make it enjoyable where I'm
Yeah.
not getting frustrated and going to bed ready to cry like
Yeah, pretty much. That's the Overwatch ranked situation.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think like one of the things is like obviously like ranking up doesn't necessarily make you happier with everything, but if you, at least you know like have it at least having a plan or an idea of what to do definitely feels better. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So okay, sounds good. Sound long. How long have you been playing Overwatch? Sounds like for a while ish.
I played when it first came out
It's a
and
while.
yeah, and then I think it was when I think it was like Ball or Brigitte was like
Yeah.
introduced to the game and I was like this is not fun anymore and I just like stopped playing and then I just kind of took a hiatus and came back to it maybe like 2 seasons ago.
Okay. So not too long. Why? What made you come back?
It's just like something that I was familiar with. I booted up. I was like, oh, this is enjoyable. I kind of missed it. I feel like they made some changes to the game where it's not extremely frustrating.
Sure.
So
Sure. Okay. Sounds good. And primarily a support player. And a lot of supports. So what is that? Has that always been your hero pool or has that kind of changed recently?
I first started out the game playing like DPS, and then I had friends that were just better DPS players, and I just naturally kind of gravitated towards the quote unquote healer role. And
Right.
I've always played like healer or support in other games, like at high levels. So, like doing mythic raiding in like World of Warcraft as a
Yep.
healer. So,
Yep.
I've just always been like used to it. I enjoy it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Sounds good. Now you have quite the cornucopia for characters that you play, at least within the support role. Ana Kiriko, a little bit of BAP, a little bit of Zen, EDRA, Moira, and so on. So particularly on a Kiriko. Now I'm curious to see what's the breakdown percentage wise approximately of heroes that you play a lot, heroes that you don't play as much, and then to make things even more complicated, why do you play the heroes more that you play?
Perfect. Okay. So, I would say about 80 80% Kiriko. And
Okay.
then let's say 15% Anna. And then
Okay.
like 5% like miscellaneous because I think like, oh, if I switch, it's going to help the game and stuff like that. And the reasons as to why I gravitate towards Kiriko and Anna, um, not only because objectively they feel strong, but I enjoy their playstyle.
Got it. And what is their playstyle to you? What do you leverage?
So I grew up like playing Counter Strike and
Yep.
team deathmatch stuff. So I've
Yep.
always just kind of been like, okay, I want to be aggressive. I want to be in someone's face, and I want to feel like I'm not just shackled to being a heal bot and being capable. So yeah,
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, okay. There's a lot of playmaking with those characters as well, which is nice. Okay, so for your goals of ranking up, I guess my question is when do you not play Ana Kiriko? Is it just more of a fun choice? Is it a counter pick? Is it a map pick? What's kind of the logic behind when you're not doing the 80% of fill in the blank? What's kind of causing you just to swap away?
it would be hey, something's not working, we're losing, and I feel like a drastic change has to be made. Maybe I can go like Moira and just like flank better because my aim is off or something. Just go like TikTok Moira or something.
Sure. Okay, okay. So for you, it's just not necessarily like the situation demands this, but you're saying the situation demands a change. Period. Let's just roll the dice, see what happens.
More or less. I mean, I try and assess the situation, but like for the most part, I feel like both Anna and Kiriko are so strong that they'll like fill that role like with having a Suzu or having a nade. It should be able to help us in that situation, but like if I feel like that's the reason why we're like losing or whatever, like maybe there's room to kind of change it up.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Something to kind of keep in mind is it's like if you're pursuing a solution to that individual game, what you perceive at least to be a solution, you might be compromising your long-term growth, right? So even if it's just a small percentage of the time, it's still time that's going to be accumulative over weeks and months and so on of training. So unless you really want to play Moira and you want the Kiriko, or not the Kiriko, the EDRA, whatever, the Zen, whatever, you really want to develop your skill set with the characters that you want to enjoy playing. And then ultimately, if you have a situation where you're like, we're losing, don't even worry about like what needs to be done to win this game. Ask yourself, what do I need to be doing to play better, period. And if you're really not sure what the answer is, then just keep practicing what you're practicing and don't worry about it.
Gotcha.
Understood. One of the biggest things, one of the worst things that you could ever do for your ranking experience is to try to solve what will win this game. Because it ends up being a short-sighted approach. Is like, oh, what's going to cheese this? Is it going to be me being PMA? Is it going to be counter swapping? Is it counter swapping or synergy swapping with my team? And in reality, like the better players just show up, they play the best that they want on the heroes that they want to play, and they don't overthink the situation. Because the reality is, there's just think about it, even with you, like you don't play Overwatch that much, but for you, it's like 24, 25 games a week, right? I mean. Yeah. That 100 games a month, you know, and all of a sudden that winning that one game doesn't really seem that important anymore. What does seem important is you putting in the hours and the characters that you want to get. And if you're a good Kiriko, you're gonna be plat or you're gonna be diamond and so on.
Understood. Yeah.
So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's not that solving a problem is bad. It's if solving a problem also maybe presents itself another problem as well, that's when it may not be optimal. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're like Ana doesn't work and I want to play Kiriko, okay, that's fine too, because that kind of falls within your subset of not creating another problem by solving one.
I'm totally okay with kind of like narrowing and niching down. I mean,
sure,
I do it in my everyday life and just kind of simplifying it. And yeah. I recognize the advantage of specializing in something and just kind of like blocking out the noise of everything else.
Right, exactly. And the thing is also you don't have to stick with Ana Kiriko forever. Like, for example, if you got bored of Kiriko, or if you think they gut the hero, or Ana gets a nerf and you're like not loving it, replace it with BAP or Zen or whatever else that you want to replace with Lucio. Who cares? Just you want to build the habit of like, whenever I'm playing a character, I'm putting some time in on that character, especially with the amount of play time that you have. That would be a good short-term goal. Okay.
I've been enjoying Alari too ever since she's been introduced. Great. I mean, she was disabled for a bit, but I was like, oh, she's kind of fun.
Yeah. She's satisfying. Her ultimate as well is very exciting. So, you know, that's something maybe to consider as well as like a back burner swap just in case things happen. Okay. Goals: smarter player, play at higher ranks, make it back to diamond. Okay. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? I'm honestly not too sure anymore. FPS games for the past 20 years. Grew up as a deathmatch aggressive player. Break the mentality of Overwatch healbot into a playmaker. Now, it sounds like you have the vernacular of knowing what I ought to be doing, the heal bot, whatever, right? And yet that you set that as a goal that you're trying to break. So is it you know it's a problem, but haven't like put enough time into fixing it? It's you know it's a problem, but you're not sure how or when or why to fix it? Or is it something that you're just looking for a little bit of feedback on to continue your growth? Because you're aware that heal botting is bad, but it sounds like it's still a problem for you. Why?
I only recently started recognizing it that like, hey, I shouldn't be just kind of like hanging back and heal botting and stuff like that. So maybe about like a month ago, and that's when I started getting like serious about making the changes. And I start to find myself going back to the old habits, and it's just like how you were saying, like I don't know how to break it, because there are games where I feel like, okay, so like a game could start out and I go flank, I create like an off angle, I'm like, I take out two people immediately. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. And then like 2 minutes later into the game, my teammates are like, you know, low health and everything, and I'm like trying to heal bot them, and I just feel like I fall back into that mentality of like, as soon as I leave them, they're dying and I can't like break away. Right. And I'm just like, I don't know how to balance this. And, you know, exactly. Obviously I haven't had any high level feedback. So sure. I'm totally open to it.
Yeah, it's hard to go like you shouldn't heal bot. You should try to make plays, but then trying to like actually implement that into each game and like how does it look like for Ana? How does it look like for Kiriko? That can be a bit challenging for sure.
Yeah, and like
Excuse me.
on the payload maps and stuff like that, like on attack, yeah, I feel pretty confident in it because like we're moving forward anyway. But then it's like defense, it's like I'm afraid to almost leave my team in that aspect.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, we'll take a look at that then. 7 hours of sleep per night on average, not bad. Could be a little bit better. I'm sure you're quite busy, but you know, that's my job. I have to say, could be better with everything. So,
Yeah.
24 hours of sleep, could be better. You know,
Lately it's been like 5 or 6. So
yeesh. Okay, well, good luck with that because I know that can be kind of a challenge, but it's important for mechanics. It's important for even like things like getting over the frustration of like a really crappy game. That's like where sleep is so important. Okay. I don't really have any other questions for your form. Do you have any other questions for me?
no, sir, I'm ready, coach.
All
Put me
right.
in.
All right. Drop me a replay code and we'll take a look here.
All right, I've got 2 options for you.
Sure.
Option 1 is I think I play well, but we lose.
Got
Or
it.
option 2 is I think I play bad, but we win.
I want to see the one where you think you played well.
Okay. Let me pull it up.
Nothing brings me more delight than deflating the balloon, you know?
Yeah. Please destroy my dreams, dude.
I used to be so scared of balloons when I was a kid, man. I was like 5 or 6 years old. People would be like, you know, the party's over and they start popping balloons and that noise, like, God, I freaking hated that.
Oh my God.
I just love fireworks, but I would literally get into the car, roll the windows up, plug my ears, and enjoy the fireworks from there.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's tragic.
I live right by Disney.
So that'll do it.
I bought a house and I didn't realize that the fireworks go off every single night.
Magic Kingdom, baby.
Dude, my first night in the house, I was like, "Oh my God, I think I made a terrible mistake."
This is a rough neighborhood, you know, like all the gun. Oh, right, yeah.
Well, I used to live in New York, so I'm used to it.
There you go. Okay, Kiriko. So, from your understanding of Kiriko, whether it was a month ago or whatever, what is a character supposed to do? What is her strengths? What is her weaknesses?
From you said from a month ago or from now?
Well, you said that you talked about like a month ago you had a little bit of a kick in the pants when it came to don't heal bot as much, try and make a little bit of plays. So I guess in the last month, what have you been trying to do more with the character?
So I used to hold on to my cooldowns a lot. I used to like hold on to my Suzu as much as possible for like a nade and try not to use it selfishly. I would just kind of hang back and just kind of maybe try and get picks and stuff. Lately, what I've been doing is just being more aggressive and being like, all right, well, screw my team. Let me go and try and get some picks. If things go wrong, let me TP out. And if they need a heal, I'm going to throw them a heal. But then I'm going to go back to doing my thing.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Let's take a look then. What I like to do, especially early in these VODs, is just to kind of let things flow a little bit. And then if I have any feedback, I'll let you know. And specifically, if you have any questions, just let out a blood-curdling scream and I will pause. I will also have questions for you as well at some point, but might just let things kind of flow for a little bit before we actually go crazy. I like what's going on here. I like the proactivity, going in there with your tank and your DPS, getting damage out. Even in
Orisa, I feel most comfortable.
Yeah, of course. Good shots here. Yeah, looks good. All right. Pretty good. Had an aggressive angle with a tank and a DPS. Used her cooldown because obviously we were under a lot of pressure with Suzu. Seems okay. That'll do well. That always feels nice, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
For one party, anyway.
Things.
For one party, it feels okay. Both supports. So, little detail here. You TP out, great. Totally fine. Don't stay here. One of the things with Kiriko is a lot of times once you teleport out, you'll teleport back onto a position that you wouldn't otherwise choose. And then you get stuck. Don't get stuck. Where should you rotate to here? As quickly as you can.
Yeah, to any cover, like to the left
Sure.
or to the right.
Yep, to the left, to the right. Exactly. I would prefer right because it goes back on that angle that we love to see, right? And you do go that way, but faster. Faster, right? Get here quicker. Good. Use the ultimate here, honestly. As soon as you get a chance to use it, I would just use it. So,
Okay,
like,
cool.
even once your Winston engages here, this might not be a bad decision. Good. Use it. Use it. Good. Good. Scary. Get it?
I'm scared of this turret. I'm like, I have no teammates.
All right, let's keep going here. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of let things flow for a little bit before we start digging in too deep. Good. This is where we're getting stuck again. You notice this? So fight's kind of like wrapping up, or we just kill the Torb. That's great. Priority here. Find that angle quickly. Find that power position. This is not it. Where should it be?
Oh, so like maybe up on the bridge or something?
Up on the bridge, sure. Absolutely. From the information that you have, you know the Orisa's here. It might be safe to teleport there. If not, you could rotate there. You could rotate here and wall climb up, but you need to not be here. Right? Small little detail, but something to keep in mind. Go on.
Every detail matters.
That's right. Now let's actually talk about this, because this is my favorite Kiriko error. And one of my good friends, actually, who I play quick play with sometimes, makes the same error because he's crazy like you are, right? This is value. We've seen this work not too long ago with the soldier, but it's not optimal. And let's talk about why. Who is engaged right now?
So we have the Torb and now the Kiriko appear.
And who is engaged from your team right now?
No one.
Just you, right? Now, you could look at this and be like, if I'd hit some headshots, sure. I thought this was a 1v1 and then turn into a 2v1, sure. That's fine. What I would say is be cautious with the angles that you take if those angles mean that you're going to get your CDs forced before your team can help you.
Gotcha. I find that this is also one of my mistakes is like, maybe because I play really aggressive, I'm like, yo, where's my team at? Let's go. Let's steamroll them.
But your team is pushing hard. And even if your team is to help you, this is a question of where your Winston could have dove this, but you're not here now. You've left. So what could you have done differently here? Small adjustment, maybe. What do you think?
Maybe not be so aggressive on the peak and just have an escape ready more.
Sure. Maybe even just hide in the corner here, right? Make him come into your team. Maybe this is where you would kind of sit here, or even you're going to sit here quietly and listen, right? I want you to try to think about when they start to peak my team, that's when I flank and backline. And see, the funny thing is you'll get more kills that way too. Because if the enemy team is distracted by your team first, and then all of a sudden you appear, oh boy, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a problem. You know, it's funny. I actually want to go back and look when you actually got the kill on the soldier. Just curious. You know, it's funny here because the question is why does this work so well? Maybe you just hit the shots. But you know why this worked? Look at where the soldier was distracted by your Winston, right? So your Winston's applying pressure here, which makes the Kiriko, even the Kiriko, right, was looking in that direction, right? And the soldier's like, oh, I'm going to go take an angle on this guy, right? This little, like, what is he going to do? I'm going to go, oh, right. And then he doesn't even see you. You see that?
Yeah.
That's the difference between these two engagements here. It's such a small detail. You're in the exact same angle, but one of them you have help, one of them you don't. And so what happens is you look at this and you're like, you know, I use my Suzu aggressively here. But honestly, if you'd had your Winston with you, or even your Genji shooting, or your Moira shooting, or your soldier shooting, or anybody pressuring with you, I don't think you get your Suzu forced. I think you maybe just TP and then you're fine. Good. Honestly, I think this is just a situation where you're down one. And then also, what I would like you to do, use the information that you see here to make better teleport decisions. So right now, you have a little bit of downtime, right? So you look around. What do you see?
Let's see, the Moira on the cart, the soldier on the high ground.
Mm-hmm. Where do you teleport to?
I don't even know where I wound up to. I think I wound up on the Winston or the Moira. Yeah.
Right. What's your best option with what you've seen?
I should have gone to the soldier.
Gotta gone to the soldier.
Panicked. I gotta get out.
Right. So the timing of that engage was fine, right? Considering your team was engaged elsewhere and you were down one, so that's unfortunate. But could have made a better decision with your escape route with the information that you had. Something to kind of keep in mind. Nice. Team's engaged, take an angle. Good. Good. Nice, got a little bit of weave going on there. I see it. That was nice. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to do it again. I know it. There it is. There's the CD trade. And it's such a negative CD trade as well. You know what I'm saying? When you're more likely to get your Suzu forced when it's just you. And it's such a long and valuable cooldown. Even if you were to use it selfishly, because you would be able to do so many more aggressive things with it. Like right now, for example, if you had Suzu at this very same moment, maybe you could aggressively hold this angle and not be scared, right? I really want you to pay attention to that, particularly. Oh, I would not be here. Here's a question. Is it better? Should you teleport right now? Let's just start with that.
I would say yes.
And where would you teleport to?
To the bridge.
Do you know somebody's there?
I thought I just saw someone there.
I thought you did as well. But this is, do you see, like right now, it's kind of too late to be looking, right? So you're just like, frick, just like panicking. And that was absolutely an opportunity. Like right now, teleport to bridge. You're here with soldier. And you're cooking. You're totally fine, right? So here's what we're seeing so far. You take angles. Love to see it. You don't time those angles very well, which means you get your Suzu force pre-fight. Unfortunate. Then, when you're also forced to teleport out mid-fight, you don't really know where to teleport to. So your cycle is not only poorly timed, you also don't actually get out alive. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions so far?
Maybe in terms of trying to keep positioning on like where my team is and stuff, because at times like I feel like I'm a boomer where it's like everything feels so overwhelming where it's like, oh my god, there's so much going on. Like, how do I keep better track of my team?
Great question. Great question.
There are times I'll be like, yeah, he was there, and then all of a sudden, the next second, he's not there. See, right now, I have no idea where everyone is. Right now,
it's too late to find people because there's so much going on your screen. One of the analogies I always like to use, I played a lot of baseball as a kid, right? And my dad used to always say, like, know where you're going to throw the ball before the ball's hit. Okay. Right now, you should already know I'm taking an aggressive angle. Where am I going to teleport to? You turn around here. You even turn around and look at your team. You should see your soldier on high. You see this? So then I go take my angle here. You even see him again here, right? That's all. And so now the reason why now is a great time to know that is because Chaos hasn't quite gone up to DEFCON 5 yet, right? And so then now you don't even need to think. You just go immediately right now. So what I would challenge you to do is to prepare your decisions to make them feel easier by overwhelming yourself less by doing prep. You just need to prepare more. Does that make
Understood,
sense?
yeah.
Because it's not a boomer thing. There's too much going on your screen. It's just flat out. There's just way too much going on your screen. It's impossible for anybody to be able to track that much. But that's why you do your preparation. Nice. So like the next fight here, we're gonna take an angle. Are you gonna know when this angle goes poorly? Because it will at some point, most likely. Where will I go? If you don't know the answer before you even take the angle, or like as you're taking the angle, like right now, it's very chill, right? By the way, thank you, replay, but you were bug. You see this?
I'm like, did I just go in there?
Yeah, Moira orbs, man, crazy. Like
It's
right
alright.
now,
Even if it wasn't a bug, I wouldn't have seen it and walked into it.
yeah. Moira orbs are always bugging on me. Fire strikes as well for mine, just projectiles. Okay, so the question is where's your escape route right now? Do you know?
No clue. I'm
No
gonna
clue.
assume behind me.
Right, and that's exactly where your assumptions are wrong, because you're gonna assume behind you, but actually the card is rotated all the way over here. You might be outside of teleport range, just barely, if you're not careful. So not only are you going probably too early again, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see what's happening? I'm not even sure. And there it is. You see it? Now you're obviously like, oh my gosh, he hit some crazy shots. I didn't know the Reaper was there, but like, there's nothing here but you. And again, you might have actually like looked around behind and been like, crap. Oh, then you would have been too late either way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, definitely. And like hearing it pointed out totally makes sense, because I know in my head, I'm like, I'm in trouble. Let me turn around. Let me look to TP out. That's what I should do. And I didn't. And at that time, I'm trying to assess the situation before like even knowing where I'm supposed to go.
You're trying to assess the situation and then solve it at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's too much to do both at the same time. It's just too much. You know, and I think the reason why this is such a problem is this happens all the times with Tracers, Genjis, Winstons, Wrecking Balls, is they get coaching from Awkward, or they get coaching from me, or they see one video about making plays, or ML7 support, not a healer, right? And they do good things. They take angles, they put out pressure, they're trying to make plays, they're being offensively minded. But this is why you can't have angles without timing. You can't have selfishness without selflessness. You can't have solo play without team play. And so when you go and you take these angles over here and you're pressuring, if you're not aware of where your team is and you pressure by yourself, the idea of the play is good, but the play will not work as well as you would like. You get punished for it. You'll get your cooldowns for it unnecessarily. So when you're going for these more proactive, anti-nades or Kiriko plays and angle, anything Ana or Kiriko for you, really, just support in general. If you're not aware of when and where your team is fighting, you're throwing. It's that simple. So I want you to maintain this level of proactivity with an awareness of when is my team pushing and where is my team playing. And if you could do those two things, then your proactivity is going to be good team play and you're going to win a lot of fights. If you can't do it, then you're going to have the same struggles of a heal bot support where you're always with your team, but you're missing that other aspect. But it's flipped on its head, where you're never with your team, but at least you're making plays, but the plays don't matter because you're never working with your team.
Yeah.
You need both halves of the equation. And right now you only have one. It's really easy to like fight that, be counterculture and be like, supports you to be making plays, because everyone has like this heal bot mindset, right? But you can't go like too far the opposite end, because then all of a sudden you're making mistakes too. There's a balance. This is all fine. This is just like almost salvaging a lost fight. Like that's whatever. It's good. Your mechanics are good, by the way. Certainly for like, are you gold 1 still?
I think I dropped to like gold 2.
Really? Okay.
It was like gold 3, then I went back to gold 2, gold 3. I'm just like, dude, this is bad.
Your mechanics are good for gold.
Thanks.
Yeah. I would say plat level, certainly.
Makes me feel better.
Yeah, I thought boomers didn't have good mechanics, but
I'm only 38 too.
Oh my gosh. Look at that.
I'm an old man.
That's boomer in esports age as well.
Yeah, it is.
I'm almost 30 myself. I'll be 30 this year, so like I'm like a fossil when it comes to especially esports, I guess let me look at this really quick here. We're kind of too busy making boomer jokes here. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say here is maybe no, I don't really think there's anything to do. Your Winston just had a death wish. Yeah, stuff. There's not a whole lot. Okay, let's use this rush. Let's win this fight. So this is fine, But one option you have here, let's see if you spot it. What else could you do here? Let's give you a little bit of
Preferably, I'd
context.
like to go into the window to get a better angle there.
Like here?
Yeah.
Or here? Yeah. You could also take the angle here if you had time. You honestly could also teleport to your Winston before he peeks out and then peek out on the backline with him. Remember what you did on first fight? Where you kind of like went up with the rotation here. If you could do it now and then peek out and then you'll have your Suzu and you'll have to teleport soon, this would be a great opportunity for you to Kitsune rush with your Winston on the backline.
Yeah.
So it feels a little like right now, maybe I'm reading too much into it. It feels like one of two things, maybe both. One, you have your Kitsune rush you want to play in main. Don't need to do that. You could still take an angle, work with your tank, Kitsune rush 2 people. It's great. Awesome. Love to see it. The other thing is maybe that you've been taking a few angles and you've been getting punished for it. And so now you're feeling a little bit less more hesitant to do so. Maybe that's not the case. Either way, not great where you're at right now. Not great. Because you're going to spend a long time healing the soldier and shooting a fortified Orisa. And then getting caught in Orisa ult. And then having the teleport in the middle of the open. And this is when you feel a little overwhelmed. And but you got the combo off, right? Kitsune tactical visor gonna win.
Yeah,
right?
dude.
Right. It's not a good setup. Sometimes there's exceptions to the rule, right? But really, like I think you have to prioritize taking an angle either with your Winston or by yourself. Let's just imagine John Lennon out here, and just like right here. Kitsune rush right here. This is a 1 fight. Your soldier might die, but this is a 1 fight, 100%. Torbjorn dies. Kiriko dies. Winston lives. Reaper dies. Yeah, I mean they're done. It's a 1. I mean you don't even have. You can exactly envision what would have happened there. With Kitsune rush and Kiriko on a flank. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now my question.
Priority.
No, go ahead.
My priority was like, oh god, this soldier's gonna die if we lose that soldier on the front line. We're totally gonna lose this whole entire fight and the whole game and everything. I can't abandon him. He's hit low HP. Like that's what it reverted back to.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, it's like you have to look at that as being like, first off, where is my impact the best, the highest? Right, it's on an angle, right? And second off, can I compensate for that soldier's death elsewhere? And the answer is yes. And the answer is yes. Take an angle. You can compensate elsewhere. What is your character best at? It's doing stuff like this, right? It's doing stuff like this. Like your Winston's primeling, go kill the Reaper here. Up the Genji. Yes. Don't shoot the Orisa, but yes. Little unfortunate timing of the Suzu. Obviously, like he's mid-Wraith. Good. Good weave. You definitely weave at good times. More than anything else in terms of micro, something to practice. Okay, so we've talked a lot about like your general playstyle. I'm gonna throw in a micro in here. This right here has to stop.
What am I doing?
You miss the Suzu and the guy's mid-Wraith, and it's the second time just this fight that you have Suzu'd, and not only Suzu, but I think also missed the Suzu on a Wraithing Reaper as well. So here's how you deal with this issue. Because there's so much crap going on your screen right now, you isolate it. You go into a game, and all you do is you go like, I'm going to track whether my Winston has Primal Rage. Does my Reaper have Wraith? Does my Orisa have Fortify? You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then make decisions around that Suzu, around that. Now, what that might mean is that on accident, you actually play a little bit more conservatively. You don't take the angles that you should be, but it doesn't really matter. You're just practicing making better decisions with your Suzu. Do that for a couple of days. Do that for maybe 1 or 2 games a day for a week. And this will be better because that has been something since the start of this VOD. I haven't talked about it as much, but there have been about 10 or 11 bad Suzus. That have been unnecessary, misplaced, target already had a defensive cooldown, didn't need it, or just flat out late. And I think it's because you're putting so much emphasis on making plays and hitting shots that you're kind of losing the forest for the trees. That's not a bad thing. I think playstyle is way more important, but it might be worth it. It's like, let's put it this way. Go back and develop some of your micro, and then go back and focus on positioning and playstyle. and then go back and work a little bit on your Suzu micro, and then continue to focus on positioning and play style. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like fine tuning things. Go ahead.
One thing that I felt that I've kind of identified
Mhm.
was trying to slow myself down a little bit. So
Mhm.
either like missing shots, missing Suzu, stuff like that. Like I'm in such like a rush to like, okay, I gotta throw it out or whatever, and
Right.
like just completely whiffing it or
Right,
whatever.
right. Well, that's because there's so much going on the screen at all times. I mean, you are playing a extremely mechanically micro and really macro intense character. There's a lot going on your screen. So the reality is that you're not going to be able to do everything at once. It's not possible. So don't try. Instead, pick on one, fixate on some one thing until that becomes more automatic for you, right? And then move on to the next thing, and then move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. Don't worry. If you're overwhelmed, it's fine. Everyone's overwhelmed. Don't worry about it. Just pick one thing and work on it. Like if you go the entire fight and you're like, I only thought about Suzu's, and it's fine. It's good. Also, Moira orbs. I mean, how many orbs is this? 1, 2, 3. This is insanity. Do you see this? It's actually gotten worse. I actually think like you see it, right? It's actually such a good Suzu too. It just totally whiffs. Like you aim it too high, he moves, and it's just like, it's such a nice little build there. So you just totally miss the Suzu. And that Suzu needed to land. I love your positioning. I love your timing. Your Malga definitely kind of feeds there, but Malga needs that window of invulnerability to kind of build a sustain back up again. So let's take some notes here. Now, question for you: are we going to move on to some Ana after this?
I think I have. Yeah, I think I have
Okay.
an Ana replay.
Okay. So then let's actually take some notes with Kiriko then right now. From what you've seen, what are things that you need to work on in isolation?
I need to definitely work on hitting that Suzu, tracking like cooldowns of the other players and not whiffing it. Have a plan for my positioning, like my escapes and stuff, and realizing where the team is in order to effectively like flank or take my off angles, things like that.
Right. How do these notes there look in your channel?
They look good.
Okay. Now,
They look
obviously,
fantastic, man. I'm gonna be like GM. That's what.
yeah, surely. If it only was that easy. But in reality, like I said, the way to implement these things is to choose one, work on it however you'd like, and then move on to the next thing. Don't work on multiple things per game. Now, the flavor of this is some people like to take one thing and they fixate on it for a week. I used to coach people to do that. I'm not so sure that works for everybody because it doesn't work for me. What works better for me is I actually will fixate on something for one game, and then a different game fixate on something else, and I might change depending on the enemy composition or the map or whatever, because that keeps things fresh for me and it prevents it from being dull to practice over and over and over and over and over again. Some people will practice something for an entire day. Some people will mix it up. Totally up to you. As long as you go into a game and you know what you're practicing, then you're good to go. And you could structure that practice however you'd like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest of it is pretty much up to you. However you want to implement it. Just one thing per day, per week, per game, whatever. Okay. Any questions before we move on to Ana?
No. Sounds good.
Now let's look at some Ana here.
I could literally feel my brain growing as like you put these things like into action.
Good. I think like you can see here how a lot of it is just it's basics, it's basics, but there is something empowering about knowing what I need to do next time, even if I'm not able to replicate it perfectly, because you're not going to be able to. But you at least have a plan. You have a plan. Okay, Ana code.
That one should work. I wrote in my notes, it says disappointing Ana, so I don't know what to expect with it.
Okay. Now, the nice thing with support is that many of the fundamentals really bleed over from one to the other. So, the timing of your pressure, the proactivity, tracking things, all that kind of stuff will help you. Knowing where your team is, You are... Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, this was about a week ago. And I hadn't really read into anything about like...
Sure.
I can already tell right off the bat what I'm doing wrong.
What is it?
This angle's terrible. Why the hell am I in the middle?
All right. So where would you go instead? You got a Widowmaker to worry about, right? So where would you go instead?
Try and position away from this widow, so I don't want to be in that last. Yep, right there in that little corner
Where?
on the. Yeah, I can't click it. Go to the bottom right. Yeah, like right around
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, this is okay. You could sit here and chuck a nade outside of Widow LS. You know, generally, if your teammates are being sweet, nice, and strategic, they won't take any crazy fights before the cart gets to here. So, like, once the cart gets to about here, it's a lot easier to like choose angles and without peeking Widow. But yeah, I would definitely not be in mid, and I would be looking for nade angles and so on as quickly as I can. I like this position. Hit that nade. Hit that nade. Hit that nade. You're killing me. Your nade is offensively the most important thing that you could possibly be doing. Right now, this Malga has committed. Your tank is behind shield, more than half HP, and he needs pressure on the enemy teammates to actually live. Nade cripples people almost indiscriminately. Squishies, DPS, supports, tanks, whatever. Nade offensively, 90% of the time, unless that target is going to die without it. And sometimes even then. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm gonna cringe at this replay because even like just now I'm noticing all the things that like a week ago I was making wrong, and like now I feel like I've got a better understanding, but I know I'm not good at.
That's fine then. That's fine. You know, we don't have to. Like even here, it's like you need to be trying to find a way to avoid this Widow LOS, or maybe even shifting your angle to here. This nade has to hit. Like obviously Malga is a bit of an extreme example, but nade on any tank or any DPS or any support is important. Go try with the sleep dart. Because the reality of the situation is this: if you do not get the offensive pressure on your nade, even if you land every single defensive nade, you still might lose because you're putting out so little pressure that your team will lose. Like if you don't nade Malga, your Sigma loses the tank trait. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
Nade's busted. There's a reason why people hate that ability in some ways. I think has its upsides and downsides, but you need to find pressure here. Good. Good. Honestly, like not even that bad if she's distracted, but a little ambitious. What could you do with this nade instead?
That was an outfield to home plate, throw him out.
Yeah. Pretty much bottom of the ninth. Okay, what could you do with this nade instead? She's out. Like you've hit the shots that matter. She's now totally out of the fight. She has to get healed. She's totally disengaged. Now what?
Just throw it on the people that are fighting right there on the Malga.
Right. Mei, Malga, Moira, Mei for nade for ice block. Good trade. Mei for fade and Malga. Good trade. You could take an angle nade the Ana, take some pot shots at her, force her out of the fight. Good trade. It's a flexible cooldown. Good nano. Well timed to nano. He's engaged, so it's good. Rotate. Oh, she got you. That's all right. Let's keep going. Here. Now you have perfect scouting here. Where should you rotate?
Ideally, maybe to like the top right.
Sure. Rotate around here. Yeah, good to me.
Yeah.
I'm not even convinced that this wouldn't be a bad play here. You got to be careful of Mei, but you have your sleep and nade. You have cover here. Maybe worth a shot. I kind of want you to think about it like Kiriko a little bit, where it is not bad to try and take a little bit of proactivity around your team. Like look at your diva, look at your sojourn, take an angle, go make a play with your CDs. Preferably have LOS of your team if you can. But the irony here is this is why it's so important. You saw the first point where you made no plays outside of shooting the Widowmaker. That's literally the best thing that you did that entire defense, right?
Yeah.
And the Nano and Sigma, which was good. And as a result, you lost. There were no impactful nades, there's no impactful sleep darts, you didn't really hit any shots besides the Widowmaker, and so your team slowly whittled down because their Ana was hitting cooldowns and doing damage and you were not. Okay. Now, here you're too scared to take any position, even with perfect scouting. And so you're going to die. Or you should have died. Do you see the irony here?
Mm-hmm.
You see the irony? It's the fear of proactivity that's either going to kill you or kill your team, regardless of what you do. At least get something out of that. Fight started. Fight started. Make a play. Now you're gonna have to be careful. You should go top left. You should go creep, 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 creep. And honestly, if she's not gonna know that you're up here, you actually could kill this Widowmaker here. You'll have sleep dart. You'll have nade. You could pop out, throw nade, hit a shot. She might die. Or you could be like, oh, I don't want to peek her. Screw that. Then just ignore the Widow. Put your back to the wall here and win the tank trade with sleep dart and nade. Right? You're in a much better position than this Ana. Make a play. Certainly fish for a nade here. Certainly fish for a nade here. Ah. That's why positioning matters, right? You know, because it's like it's easy to screw that up when that's all you can see is payload. I might even throw a sleep dart in here. Yeah, this is you're a spectator to the team fight. This is what's happening. You might need to defensively nade this. Oh, okay. I appreciate the discipline there. Definitely nade this. Definitely nade this. You're going to be healing for eternity until you nade this Malga. Good. Nice. 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 Finally. Nice. Like, do you see what's happening? Yep. You hit a nade, you force ice block, you hit a shot, you win the fight. Very good. Where is this guy going? Okay. All right. I think it's because you don't have that teleport in Suzu, you know? It's like, I can't make plays, I can't make plays. But the difference between you and Kiriko is that, like, you are less mobile, yes. But the impact of your CDs is arguably a lot more offensive. There's a lot more that you could do with that. Like, even here, right, you're very concerned about card, but the fight is happening, and you have been a non-factor.
I feel like I'm two different players watching this.
It really does feel like that. It really does feel like that. Now, again, what's going to happen is you're going to have to figure out what the balance is of, like, for example, like right now, when we're taking the space here, should you go out here and like rotating here? Is this a good position? Is this a good position, or is this just going to get you killed by Widowmaker? I want you to do what you did with Kiriko, where you were like more proactively minded, but messed up some details that we had to go back and correct. I'd rather that than this, because you learn nothing from this. You learn nothing from this. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And certainly here you're going to anti-nade, right?
Nah.
Uh-huh. Certainly here you're going to anti-nade, right? Good nano. The nanos are good. Like, you're always nanoing somebody who's engaged.
I got the nano out.
You got the nano. Listen, the nanos are great. Literally a perfect nano so far, so we'll take it. Okay. This rotation's fine. It's a little unfortunate that your team is pushing here, but as long as you have a decent sight line here. You might even take the time to rotate to here, because you got a nice little angle here, right? You see this? Safe angle. The thing with Ana is it's like, you know, Kiriko has a lot more positional flexibility, but you have a sniper rifle, right? Good try. Good try. I would just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. Don't hesitate. This is like a tiny little detail, but do not hesitate to shoot Malga barrier. It is only Reinhardt shield. It is only Reinhardt shield. A lot of people don't know that. They think it's like a Symmetra wall. It's not. It's Reinhardt shield. So if you put in like 4 or 5 shots, you're going to take like 20% of the HP down.
Oh, okay.
Which is better than nothing, right? Hit the nade, hit the nade, hit the nade, hit the nade, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. No! It's like Suzu. We got to work on your placement. All right. Oh, Mei wants you. I believe. Sure. It's good. Forces ice block. You keep your position. Oh, I believe you. I think you can win this. I think you can win this. That's a huge kill in there, Moira. You have your cooldowns if they push you. Make a play here. Go, 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 go. Hit the Malgar and the Mei here. Or the Ana. Or the Ana. You could kill the Ana. There you go. There you go. There you go. Nice sleep dart. You're good. Just shoot her. Just shoot her. Shoot her. Shoot her. Shoot her.
Nope. Nope.
No!
I took a look at my cooldowns. I'm like, I don't have anything up yet. Can I wait
We might
out?
as well. Well, but that means you gotta at least shoot her, right? Because if you don't have your cooldowns here, then the only way that you're gonna kill her is through just shooting her in the face, right? So you might as well get the advantage while you can. So and you ended up just dying to her. More proactivity, you know, not just proactivity, but more confidence that like I have this cooldown. I need to do something with this cooldown. The only time that you should save a cooldown is when.
I would say like when a fight is about to break out, or like I don't know, like a big fight.
So I would say you would want to have your cooldowns for every fight, right? You would never try. You would avoid wasting your cooldowns right before a fight started, ever, right? Same thing with the Kiriko, right? You don't want to get your Suzu and TP burned just before the fight starts, right? So, but when would you save your cooldown? A fight has started, and yet you're choosing not to bio nade or not to sleep dart. Why?
I don't know.
Sombra. You know where she is. Is she gonna dive you, right? They
So
have.
That's good that you pointed it out because I feel like I panic and/or am not good versus like Sombras or things that dive me.
Sure.
I feel like I fall apart. I'm like,
Sure. Relax as best as you possibly can and play cover and then practice. That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Gotcha.
The only other thing I would say that might help a little bit with that, and this is where I improve my mechanics a lot, is just grinding deathmatch because you're going to be playing versus a lot of DPS, and it's really just a 1v1, and it's a cold world out there, so you got to win. That might build a little bit more confidence. I know that I got a lot of confidence playing Zen into Tracer through grinding deathmatch. That might help you a little bit.
okay.
But the main thing for you is like, if you have a good reason to save a cooldown, you have something very specific in mind that you're waiting for, then it's fine to save a cooldown. If you don't, if the fight starts, use the cooldowns, get value, put the pressure out. And your entire mindset is, I want you to be looking for these offensive nades, looking for situations and times to pressure with your team more, instead of saving and standing. Even with your positioning here, what's the problem with your positioning here?
It's just not doing anything effective.
Right.
Like I'm just a spectator.
Right, exactly. You have no position to really put out any offensive pressure. And the irony, as we saw earlier, is generally those positions are also more vulnerable. If the Sombra goes for you now, you're dead.
Yeah.
If you don't hit the cooldown. Whereas if you're up here, you have options to drop to a health pack, get peel from your team, rotate around a corner. It's just much harder for her to get to you. Nade, hit that Moira on the cart. Good try with the sleep dart. There's a nade. There we go. And the guy almost dies for it. That was good. If you hit the sleep dart, he definitely dies. And dare I say, if you're on high ground, not only do you get the nade, but the sleep dart's also a little easier. And maybe you also stop this Mei from doing this, which means that your Kiriko lives. All sorts of hindsight coaching that we could do when we take a better position. Oh, if you'd been here, this would have happened. Or, oh, if you'd been here, this could have happened. But the reality of the situation is probably right. It probably would have felt a lot better. Hey, look who's using high ground to kill your team. All right. All right, I want to see a nade as soon as we see any sort of a committal from you or your team. Go. Do it. You had that window right about here. You see this? They are pushing. This is fine. If you nade this here, this is fine. They're close enough, right? And no coolness.
That is so cringe to watch.
Yeah, I know. It's tough.
Now I know I named it disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I would be disappointed as well. The thing is though, it's like, I don't know. Everything is easier in hindsight. Everything is easier in hindsight. You know, it's like you probably felt like I was trying to save the nade for him to walk forward a little bit more, and I also wanted to save a cooldown for the Sombra, and I was scared of Mail, and I needed to play cover. Like, there's always a justification. It's also easy to like go like, oh man, I'm trolling. Like, what am I doing? You know, I don't know. You've done your nanos have been good. Your cover usage for the most part has been pretty good as well. I would like to see you take more proactive positions with cover, with better sightlines, and I'd like to see you use your cooldowns. That's pretty much it. I don't think it's like this isn't like, you know, oh, this is so bad. Like, this is just terrible. I mean, yeah, I guess, but it's fine. You'll figure it out. It's not that big of a deal. Any questions so far with Ana specifically?
Not really. I think just one thing I struggle with also is just kind of finding that positioning where I have cover, I can do damage and also heal my team at the same time.
You mean like right where you're at right now?
Yeah, except I'm out in the open. But
Kind of. You know, you should be a little closer to cover for sure. But yeah.
yeah. But yeah.
Nice. Now, where should you go now?
I would say, I mean, I would like to go up the stairs.
I would like to go up the stairs too. Still got cover. Still got sightlines. Still can damage your team. Still can heal your team. It's funny. Whenever I ask the question, you always know the answer. You just don't do it in game.
Yeah.
Like, this is not where you want to be. You don't have a good sightline here. You're out in the open. Just food for thought. I think for you is there's definitely a lack of information, a little bit of practice that you need. But I also feel that whenever I ask you that question, it only takes you about 2 seconds to come up with an answer. And 2 seconds isn't too long. Like that might slow you down a little bit in game. But I mean, 2 seconds to figure out this position, it's worth it. It's worth it to take 2 seconds because this Balga has yet to have been nated. And he has been committed since like Christmas. He's still not nated. You're thinking, and see, I can tell you're thinking about it now. You're like, all right,
here I am.
yeah, and there it is, right? It's all or nothing. So I'm like, you know what? I honestly would prefer this. I'm not going to lie to you. There it is. Look at that. You see that? You made a play. But you know, it's not like we can't have our cake and eat it too, right? Okay, let's watch one more fight. You got time for one more fight?
Yeah.
All right, then we'll take some notes. All right. Can you have your cake and eat it too? Where is the position? What do you think of your positioning now? Nobody's pushing payload. Should you be here? Where should you be?
I mean, I would say it's okay right now.
Right.
Now I think I would shift more to the left.
More here. Maintain your distance, right? Don't get too close to the ram. Oh, you've. So this is just simply you didn't have cover, and you wanted your CDs. So instead of like holding an angle or holding a cover, you just like W keyed to hit your CDs.
Yep.
Right. So this right there, that might be the habit that you have to break. Is find total inactivity. Oh no, I need to be practicing my CDs. Total W key, no cover, no angle. I'm gonna be aware of. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, I lied. Let's watch one more. All right.
I think we just get stalled over here.
Yeah. So maybe we'll stop there then. Okay, let's take some notes. Let's take some notes. So doom and gloom, but it's fine because we actually have a plan. What needs to be practiced?
Got to work on the positioning.
Positioning in regards to what?
In regards to being effective, not just being like a spectator.
Not just a spectator. Sightline with cover. Experiment. That's it. Remember, you have, I think, enough information to start experimenting with. You know what you're looking for? Go find it. Okay? What else? That was probably the biggest one, but also then once you had those positionings, what was not happening from those positions?
I was like either missing shots or like not using my cooldowns like the right way or at all. Nanos were fine.
Yeah. Okay. For confidence versus dive DPS duels, maybe worth deathmatch practice. Anything else? I think those are the main ones.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it for that.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Do you have any questions overall?
No, man, this was very insightful, and I really appreciate it. I feel like
Sure.
this is definitely going to help me kind of like formulate the game and think of it from a different angle. No pun intended. I think I'm breaking the habit of thinking that everyone's got 100 HP and you just shoot and can outgun people and kill them, and not realizing like, hey, it's a team game and there's a little more strategy behind it. So it's not
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
run a gun.
I hope that you've learned a little bit here, but I think especially with the Ana, there was some to learn, but also mostly just like you have the knowledge here. It's just about application. I hope that, like, if nothing else, you like feel like there's your brain's going a little bit. Also, it's like, hey, this is not that complicated, right? I think hope if nothing else that you feel like that a little bit. So